What's going on, everyone? And
Hello,
Nihon.
Nihon.
This is the podcast where I myself, Christian,
And Clayton.
And Ehab.
talk about Japan. So, I ride the train to work every morning at around 6, and there is a lot that could be said about trains in Japan at that time. For one, that's when the rush to get to work starts, so they'll really cram you in that train like a sardine. And number two, how do you think most people feel that early in the morning?
I'm gonna say filled with rage.
There's a little bit of that, but yeah, I think people are just tired. Getting up early. Who knows what time they had to get up just to be on the train at 6 in the morning. Since they're so crowded, most people end up standing on the train, and they have like these little loop things that you can grab onto that you don't like fall over. But it's really funny because the trains are so crowded that even if you don't hold on to one of those, you're not going anywhere if the train shakes around.
No thanks.
Right? So people are like so tired that they'll just hold on to those little things and they'll fall asleep while standing.
Wow. Do you know what those are called?
What are they called? I don't know. What are they called?
I think it's what you just said. I've heard of it before, but I don't know what they're called in English. I just call them the rings in the train that you can grab on.
A hand holder. Handlebar.
I guess a handlebar. A circle handlebar.
Handle ring.
They're more like loops, but just going off of this conversation, it seems like we don't even know what they're called in English, so I don't know what it is in Japanese either. But yeah, can you imagine standing while sleeping? That sounds awful.
Yeah.
That's a skill I don't possess.
I can't do that.
Yeah, how hard do you think they gotta work to be able to fall asleep while standing?
Probably too hard. Much harder than they should, and much harder than they get paid to, is what I'm gonna assume.
Yeah, overtime in Japan.
Yeah, long days, long nights at the office. Yeah, but these are just the trains in Tokyo. I'm sure it's probably around the same in other big cities, but in smaller cities, I don't think you have to worry about that. I'm kind of curious what it's like in you guys' situation, because I know, Clayton, you're from a small town, and Ehab, you're from, like, kind of in the middle. Mm-hmm. What are the trains like where you guys are at?
Ehab, you want to go first? It'll be biggest town, middlest town, littlest town.
All right.
Middlest town.
So, for me, it's not as crowded as Christian had mentions. Like, I've never seen the train here to the point where it's like in Tokyo where it's so crammed in that the train staff have to come and push you in. I've seen it crowded here, but never to that point.
Yeah, we had an earthquake one time, and I don't know why the next day all the trains get super crowded out of nowhere. Doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of people trying to get on the train, and of course, like, they have those people with the little machines pushing everybody into the train. And from the inside, to make sure that you can actually stay in the train so they can close the door, they'll, like, grab onto the roof of the train on the inside and push themselves in, too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've never seen that.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah. But go on, though.
Oh, no, that was it. I was just saying I've never seen it crowded to the point where I needed to get squeezed in. How about you, Clayton?
All three of you.
Well, I sent you guys a video today of my one train car. Yeah, so, no. I think there was like 3 people riding it. Everyone drives in Hokkaido, because it's so far.
I mean, it is a big chunk of land, too, and you got a lot of snow.
Ugh.
Yeah, but, I mean, trains are so different here. There's a lot that could be said about them, because, like, have you guys ever been on a train in the States?
I've been on the light rail. Would that count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah. I'll say gross. Gross is a good word.
Yeah, the people that ride them tend to be a little bit more on the sketchy side. At least when I grew up riding the light rail. Maybe I'm one of those sketchy people. But, yeah, I don't know. They're always, like, dirty and, like, I know you have to buy your ticket before you get onto the light rail. A lot of people just not buy a ticket and get on the train. And, like, when the police come to see if they bought their ticket, that's when they would get off, run for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Yab?
For me, I've only been on it once in America, the BART. We have the BART where I was from, and it wasn't necessarily the cleanest thing. It was actually kind of, it was okay. It wasn't that dirty. But, yeah, you can tell by the kind of people who ride on it, a little sketchy, and you don't feel as safe as it is in Japan.
Yeah, kind of like Clayton was mentioning, in Hokkaido, like people don't really need to ride the train because most people have cars. Like you just need a car to live out in Hokkaido. And I guess you could say the same about most of the states. Like maybe they're not really funded all that much because most people have a car. But every time I would come to Japan from, I guess, the States on like some kind of tourist visa, I would always ride the train from the airport into the heart of Tokyo. I guess you could say like the middle of Tokyo. And I always found it really interesting that like at the airport, the trains are really noisy. But when you get closer to the middle of the city of Tokyo, more people get on the train, but the quieter it gets. Why do you guys think that is?
Anime magic.
How did you know?
Ah, I nailed it. Maybe it's just newer tracks?
Okay, yeah. I think actually, so of course, what does airports have? They have a lot of people from all over the world coming to Japan. And I think it's just like because of the different train cultures, a lot of people don't know that there are certain rules that Japan takes very serious on the trains here. And as you get closer to the city, more people get off and more, Japanese people who know all the rules of the trains get on and it gets a little bit quieter.
I legit thought you were talking about like the trains, cars
Yeah.
themselves, not
The sound of the train itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trains themselves they stay about the same. I don't know. Let's do research on that next time. Oh, that sounds boring as heck. Yeah, but the trains, there's a lot of rules in Japan that I think a lot of people might not be familiar with. So maybe like if you come to Japan, you're gonna want to know those rules. All right, so I have a question for you guys. Is there anything that surprised you about train culture in Japan when you guys first came here? Any like funny, interesting stories or anything like that?
Man, probably everything. Because coming from America, I didn't know anything about trains. It was very, very quiet. Everyone kept to themselves, just on their phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say for me too, because I never really been on trains back in the States when I came to Japan. It's very different. I was very surprised to see they have special seating for certain people. So they'll have seating for pregnant women, they'll have seating for the elderly. Like they have special seating to give them priority, basically. You can sit on them, but it's prioritized for them. So if you see an elderly person, you let them sit in that spot. And
You can sit on the elderly people?
no. And yeah, I feel like that side of Japanese trains is really nice because it shows that they care about the community and the people who ride on their trains.
Yeah, I know at the on both sides of each little train car, they usually have like the priority seating, and usually like it'll list out the people who these seats are designed for. So you'll see like pregnant women and like elderly people, like you mentioned. And I almost just straight up said old people.
Old people.
But yeah, they're usually on each train, so they're not that hard to find. That's interesting that you mentioned that if one of those people come to that spot, you have to give them the spot because it's like their priority.
Yeah.
Because usually just regular seats in Japan, I noticed that people don't usually give up their seat. If there's like an old person or like a pregnant lady, some people will, but I noticed like when you sit down in your spot, it's kind of like the social norm to just not give up your seat.
Well, they've been standing for so long, like many, many years. They know how to do it. They're experts.
Right, standing experts.
Maybe some of the people who are listening don't know what like the inside of a train car looks like. Should we describe it?
That'd be kind of cool.
So usually there's entrances and exits on two sides of the car. So like two up the front and then two in the back. And then when you walk in to where you would go to another train car is where the priority sitting is, right?
Yeah.
So that's on both sides of the train car. And then in the middle are seats. And then above that are the hand-holdy thingies. And then above that is where you could put like your backpack or your purse or stuff.
Oh, yeah. Your luggage.
Yeah. So people who are arriving, that's a good place to put your luggage.
Honestly, I never really used those little areas above until I started working in Tokyo because, like, I never really mind holding my own stuff, but when the trains get really, like, crammed, you're gonna want all the extra room you can get.
Yeah.
So putting your bags and stuff up there are pretty nice.
Just don't forget it.
Ha!
Just don't forget it. That's something I get a little bit nervous about, too.
One more thing I found really interesting about Japanese trains is, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but people who ride on wheelchairs, if they want to ride on the train staff will come out and put out like a little platform so that way they can get on the train. And and people make room for the person too while he or she's getting onto the train. And I found that very interesting.
That's super cool.
Yeah. It's really cool. If you let the station attendant know ahead of time what station you're going to be arriving at and like what platform, they will go to that spot a couple minutes before you arrive with the little ramp or whatever that Ehub was talking about. Yeah. So you can go from the train to the... I'm like losing my words now. To the platform.
Yeah.
Man, how to English 101. But yeah, it's really cool though. They'll help you get to where you have to go.
Do you guys have any stories from riding the train in Japan?
I got one story. So when I first came to Japan, I thought it was insane that people could just fall asleep on the train. Like, yeah, there's those people standing up, but just like even the people that are sitting down, I thought it was crazy. Like, how tired do you have to be to just fall asleep on the train? Like, don't you think someone might steal your stuff or, something might happen? And then I started working in Tokyo, and now I can say I fall asleep on the train every day.
Wow.
But I'm not saying that, like, there's like a 100% chance that nobody will steal your stuff on the train. It's a lot better than most other countries in terms of like that. But, yeah, there's very, very few people that actually do end up stealing stuff, so.
Good.
Yeah, it's a little safe, I guess. I don't know.
A little safe. No, that's super good.
During my first year here in Ehime, around Halloween time, I dressed as Spider-Man, and they're doing a little costume event down in the shopping center. So a lot of people from the city were wearing costumes. So I wanted to go there, but my only way there was the train. So in my costume, I wanted to ride on the local train to get there. And before I boarded, the train staff was asking me, stay there, wait a minute. I need to make a phone call to see if it's okay if you can ride because you're wearing a mask and we can't see your face. So she made a phone call and they're like, yeah, it's okay. He can go in. I guess they understood because it's Halloween. So I literally got on the train wearing Spider-Man outfit. I was wearing the black Spider-Man outfit for Miles Morales, and you can see a bunch of college students and even all the people on the train staring straight at me because I was the only one wearing a costume on the train, and the kids wanted the university students wanted to take a picture with me, so I found that really awesome.
Oh, that's super cute.
Yeah.
Say Spider-Man.
It's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
It's your friendly Gaijin Spider-Man.
With great power comes great responsibility. Bye, everyone.
I wonder how it is for you. Did you have any interesting experiences in Hokkaido?
In Hokkaido, no. I've never ridden the train. But when I was in Kanagawa, I rode it to... Where's the big Buddha statue?
Kanagawa?
Yes.
I think he's asking where in Kanagawa.
Oh.
He said Kanazawa or he said Kanagawa?
It's Kanagawa.
Kanagawa, okay.
Yeah. Where the hell is that big Buddha statue?
Are you saying where in Kanagawa?
Yeah. Aihuakanai.
It's in, it says Kamakura.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, Kamakura.
So, I was with my friend. Let's start over. So I was in Kanagawa, and I was there with my friend, and we were doing the touristy stuff. And seeing, like, this big red temple, and this bamboo forest, and the big Buddha statue in Doko?
Kamakura.
Kamakura.
Yeah. And after the big temple thingy, we took the train, and then our train stopped, and I was talking with this nice Obachan, and she was saying that it stopped because the people are going to make a transfer over to our train, and then we'll go. And then we end up talking for a little bit with my garbage Japanese and her just trying to understand me. But it was super sweet, and I liked it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. So it's the small little stories like that we tend to remember forever and really cherish. I like that. It's cute. Did you get her number?
Actually.
Yeah, so there's like actually a ton of different trains too. I know we keep saying like the train, but yeah, they have a few different kinds, and I think that'd be kind of cool to talk about them a little bit each. And do you guys have a favorite train?
Thomas?
Thomas.
Thomas?
Thomas, yeah, Thomas, he's amazing. You know, I really want to go to the Thomas Land. They actually have that in Japan. I want to go there.
What?
You didn't know that? There's a Thomas
didn't
Land.
know that.
Not surprised.
That's hilarious. Of course they do. But no, I don't.
I would say Shinkansen or the bullet train would be my favorite.
Yeah, the bullet train. It's super cool. It's like the super fast train with the maximum speed of 320 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
It's really fast, actually. But yeah, do you know when the Shinkansen first started running? That's a trick question. Shinkansens don't have legs. They can't run. No, but seriously, do you know when they opened?
I would say early 1900s.
Yeah, so they actually opened in 1964 for a very,
I
very
see.
specific reason.
What is that?
That was the year of the Olympics in Japan.
Oh,
So
okay.
it really helped push tourism and stuff in Japan so people can go all around the country while enjoying the Olympics.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I'm still not over that leg joke.
Yeah. But there are actually like a lot of different companies that have their own bullet train. And I mean, there's like all over Japan. Some of them go all the way up to Hokkaido. Some of them go down to Kyushu, which is like the southernmost island. And some bullet trains only go to certain stations, while others pretty much go all around the country. Yeah, so the bullet train's super cool. Do you guys have a favorite bullet train story?
When you and I took it back from Osaka, we met that German guitarist.
Yeah.
That was super cool. She was a sweetheart. This was before the murder virus, and she was making little rounds at little concerts. It was really interesting.
That was.
How did you initiate a conversation with her?
She sat down next to us, and I started talking. Guitar? Is that a guitar? I don't know. Ehab, do you have one?
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I've only been on the Shinkansen once, and that was when I was traveling around Kyushu. I was traveling around Kyushu, and it was the first time I ever been on Shinkansen. And I don't really have any funny stories or interesting stories, but I remember when I was on the train, the girl next to me, I told her, "Hey, can you wake me up when we stop? Because I'm going to take a quick nap." And right when it stopped, she like woke me up, and I found that really nice. Like the people would actually, it's really nice that people would like actually do that for you in Japan.
Right. Kindness is nice.
Kindness is nice.
Shoot.
Maybe in America, if
That's
you ask for that favor, you probably wake up like in a whole different country, and the person didn't wake you up yet.
I didn't know that.
Without your wallet. Without your wallet and a kidney.
Without your wallet, without your even your glasses are gone.
Yeah.
Christian, do you have one?
Yeah, did you have one?
I don't really have like a favorite bullet train story, but I think they can be really relaxing, you know? They go really fast, but it's crazy when you're inside, it doesn't really feel like you're going that fast.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they have like the little food carts that go by, and you can get yourself like a bento or some snacks. And oh, that's a good one. Each station has their own bento. They call it an ekiben, which literally just means like station box lunch. And whenever you ride the bullet train, you could pick yourself up one for about $10 or so, and it's a really good meal. Super unique and super fresh, made every day. Highly recommend it.
Nice.
But yeah, for me, it's just, sitting in a bullet train, eating a bento, and enjoying the view of Mount Fuji as you pass it. If you're planning to come to Japan and want to ride the bullet train, I highly recommend you get a JR pass. I'm not really an expert on the topic of JR passes. I think eHub knows a lot more than I do. Could you explain that to the listeners?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, and what's interesting about the JR Pass is that you can buy for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it's for foreigners visiting Japan. And with this pass, you can ride on any JR train, whether it's a Shinkansen bullet train or a local train, and it's all you can ride. And it's pretty worth it if you're traveling a lot, especially if you're coming for a short duration and you want to hit many points in Japan and many places. I would highly recommend it. And it's mainly for tourists.
Yeah. So how much would it be for like 7 days?
The prices vary depending on how many days you get. So, for example, if you get the 7 consecutive days, it'll be maybe about like $300, which is actually pretty worth it. If the 14 days, maybe it'll be like about 500, and then if you get 21 days, which is about 3 weeks, it'll be like $600.
That is so worth it.
Yeah, because you don't realize how many times you take the train in Japan.
Definitely.
Yeah, even just going from like one part of the country to the other, it can cost like $100 to $200 one way. So the fact that you can ride that all around the country and hit up every single sightseeing spot for like $300, plus the yen is really cheap right now, so now's the time to buy a JR pass. That $300 might actually be like $250.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, when I came to Japan, I bought a JR pass and I went from like Tokyo to Nagasaki to Osaka to Kyoto to back to Tokyo to Spain to Mexico to America. Yeah, but no, but yeah, you could really ride it all over the country.
All over the world.
All over the world.
Okay. There was one thing I wanted to add. It was the Pasmo card. Do you guys have that?
I have a Suica card.
Yeah, I have a Suica card too.
Well, look at you fancy boys.
You should tell the listeners about what those are.
Yeah.
So they're little cards that you can get, and you can just boop them at the little scanner, and you put funds in it, and it automatically takes out the funds for when you get in and out of the train thing.
Yeah, it's like a train debit card.
Super cool.
Super convenient.
Right?
You can even use them for the vending machines and get yourself a drink. And even the like restaurants inside of the train stations, you can use your card for that too.
Yo,
That's
you can
super
even
cool.
use them at game centers, like for crane games too.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
That is super cool.
Like getting a debit card without actually having to go through the hassle of getting a debit card.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cause what I think, Clayton, you mentioned that they're only like $500 or $500. They're only like 500 yen, so it's like $5 to get them.
Yeah, and then when you are done with it, you can return it and get your money back.
That's so awesome.
Right? Easy.
Yeah, but we talked a lot about the bullet train, but there, of course, are other trains out there too to get to work and stuff like that, the local trains. So the local trains, they're the slowest of all the trains because they stop at every single station. And so this would probably be ideal for someone who works locally, works near their house, and they just have to go a couple stops to the, on the station. There are also rapid trains and express trains and limited express trains, which basically are the same thing. They just go a little bit faster, and they skip all of the small stations and only go to the major stations. They definitely cost a little bit more money, but at the same time, you're paying for your time. Like, do you want to really have to stop at every single station to get from point A to point B? Or would you rather just, like, save 30 minutes and get there a little bit faster?
Right.
And I don't think their price is, like, all that much different. Maybe only, like, a couple dollars more.
That's it's interesting that you mentioned that because I did notice that when you ride on local trains sometimes, especially in Tokyo, you'll see a little sign on top of the train. You know how they have those things that are like highlighted. It'll say like limited express. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so depending on the station that you're at, that train might either stop at your station or there might be a sign that says like it's only passing by and they won't actually stop at the station.
You can just if those are passing by, you can jump for it and hope that you'll land safely to get on. That's an option too.
Yeah, that is an option. It's not a good option, but it is an option.
We at Hello Nihon do not recommend that option.
Hello, Nihon.
It'll be goodbye Nihon at that point.
Oh, man.
Oh, and that's a great place to end this episode.
So upset. We got the leg one. We got that one.
Clayton, do you want to end this episode?
Yes. Thank you guys for listening. If you want, you can follow us on all the social media at Hello Nihon Pod. Don't forget to follow us here. And if you think someone else would enjoy it, please share it with someone. We would also appreciate it if you guys could rate us. 5 stars would be good. 5 stars would be even better. But until next time,
Bye.
Choo choo.